views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Whether she's walking the red carpet or doing interviews, you'll find her with celebrities and all the latest news. She's here, she's there, she's everywhere, she's always on the go. So sit back, relax, and get ready, 'cause it's the Corey Taylor Talks Show.
Have the wonderful Gabrielle Stone. She is just such an incredible person, actress, director, which is amazing. And then also she has this really cool book that I think will help a lot of people out. And she's been through a lot, and she is sharing it with everyone. And like I said, I really think it will help a lot of people. And I'm so excited and honored to have her on. So I have Miss Gabrielle Stone with me. So hi, Gabrielle. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. Like I said, I really think you're amazing. I was reading so much about you and your book, and I think it's so cool that you're sharing your experience, because I can't even imagine all that you went through, but it sounds like you learned a lot too. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it definitely was a lot, but I think putting my journey out there and letting people read the ridiculousness and the hilarity and the heartbreak and the devastation really is going to help a lot of people heal and grow through their own lives.
Oh yeah. And so I do, everyone knows your parents, of course, but I do want to talk about you. You, like I said, you have an amazing career. So you're an actress and director too, which I think is so cool. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and how you got into doing both?
Yeah, my parents are both, in the industry. My mom has been working for over 40 years. And I started acting when I was 19 and have been doing it since then. I've been really lucky to do a lot of really great films with a lot of really great people. And 2 years ago, I started directing. My first film that happened again last night won 16 awards throughout its festival run. And I just wrapped my second one in October, starring Amy Smart and my mom, Dee Wallace. And we're submitting that to film festivals now. It's called After Emma. And I'm in development for a feature that I'm going to be directing as well. So I've definitely been doing a lot of acting my whole life, but it seems like the tide is pushing me towards the directing front lately. Although I'm still acting, I just wrapped a film called Await the Dawn with Josh Silver that'll be out sometime next year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, I just think it's so cool that you got into this. And so how did you actually, I know obviously you probably got into acting because of your family, but what made you actually start directing?
I think I just did so many indie films where I was on set as an actress going, why are we doing this way? It would be so much better if we did it this way. And I definitely have always had a producer veins in my body. I like to be able to have control and know that I'm going to be putting out a really great product, and directing and producing is the best way to make sure that happens. So I think it was inevitable that I was going to fall into it, yeah. But until I did, my second film really was the one that made me feel like a director. The first one was kind of just getting my feet wet in it all, because I acted in that one as well. Gotcha.
And I think that's so cool too, because unfortunately there's not that many female directors, and I think now they are coming out more, and they're being made, there's a lot more films being made by female directors, but I think that's such an amazing thing that we really need in the industry, because you don't see enough of it, I don't think.
Yeah, no, we're definitely starting to come up in the ranks in that sense, which is so necessary, because we definitely do have a different perspective on things, and I think it comes through in the work for sure. And I'm proud to be on the list of female directors for sure.
Oh yes, and I do want to talk about your book because
yes.
I think that just sounds so cool. It's such, like I said, such an amazing story that you have, and we don't want to give too much of it away, but can you explain a little bit about it and how you actually wrote it?
Yeah, so the book kind of happened to me, I like to say. I was married for almost 2 years. I found out my husband was having an affair with a 19-year-old for 6 months. Wow. Filed for divorce, left, shortly after that, I met a man and we fell madly in love with each other. It was a whirlwind romance, and he convinced me to go on a month-long trip to Italy with him. 48 hours before we were getting on the plane, he told me he needed to go by himself, and I was absolutely devastated.
Of course.
But I had a decision to make, and that was either stay at home and be heartbroken or go travel Europe for a month by myself. So I got on a plane with just a backpack and 0 plans, and I did 7 countries over the span of the month by myself. And then I wrote a book about it.
Wow. Was it scary for you? Because I know I'm a big chicken. I would just freak out. Was it scary for you, or were you kind of more open to it?
Oh no, it was absolutely terrifying. I just knew that I had to go. I knew that it was going to make me face a lot of fears, and it wasn't really an option for me. But yeah, it was terrifying. I mean, I've traveled a lot for work. You know, like I've gotten on a plane and gotten off to go to a film set, but never to just go travel by myself, especially somewhere so far for so long.
Right.
So it was terrifying. But you know, when you walk through those fears, it's usually when the biggest growth happens.
Oh yeah, and so like you said, I'm sure you've learned so much, and you said the book was really about finding yourself and living alone and being alone. Like, can you explain like how you went through that? Because I'm sure you just learned so much throughout the traveling.
Yeah. So the book definitely has all of the self-help and healing and you know, ways how to love yourself, but it's sprinkled out throughout the book in a very delicate way because it's really, when you're reading it, it's kind of like you're watching a Netflix show because it's so ridiculous and outrageous and you can't really believe that all this stuff is actually happening in my life. And there's a lot of humor in it and crazy, you know, partying and a whole bunch of different stuff. But at the root of it is really the fact that I was healing and going out and really finding myself and ultimately learning how to love myself. And that was one of the things that I felt really, you know, I needed to share that with everyone.
Oh yeah, and was it difficult to write about it, or were you so over everything that happened that it was kind of easier, or was it more of a struggle?
No, I wish. No, I started writing the book the day I landed in London. So I wrote it kind of as it was happening to me and as I was traveling.
Wow.
And I wrote about 3/4 of it on the trip. And then when I got home, I finished writing the rest of it and putting all of it into my computer. Because on the trip, obviously, I was writing in like a leather-bound journal. It wasn't like a laptop that I was carrying around. And it was really, writing it was like therapy for me. But no, I was very much still immersed in everything and in my feelings and dealing with all of that while I was writing.
Yeah, that's such a unique concept. I really think it's so cool. And has it been released yet?
Yeah, so it's been out for 2 weeks. It's available on Amazon exclusively. It's called Eat, Pray, #FML, and people can get either a paperback or an ebook on Amazon.
And have you been getting response already from people? I'm sure there's tons
Yeah,
of people.
it's been insane. I feel like I haven't put my phone down in the last few weeks, but it's been really incredible to hear, you know, the reviews that have come in on Amazon from people all over the world and messages that I've gotten about how, you know, they've read it in a day or 2 days and they couldn't put it down, and it's changed their life and their perspective on so much of their relationship. And I've really been surprised at how many men have bought it, because when I wrote this, I originally thought, you know, my demographic was going to be women, any woman that's ever gone through heartbreak, which is like
Right.
all of us. But I've been really surprised at how many men have picked it up and messaged me about, oh, I have a Javier in my life, and oh, I really connected to this so much, and thank you for writing this. And so that's been really cool too.
Wow, that is cool. And you know, like you said, I do think everyone can kind of relate to it, male or female, because as horrible as it is, but like you said, everyone has experienced some type of heartbreak, and I think that's a real learning experience. And
Yeah,
you being so
yeah.
vulnerable helps so many people, I'm sure.
Yeah, and even if you haven't experienced the heartbreak, it's still, you'll connect with some level of what I'm writing about as far as like the travel or going and being by yourself and going and finding yourself and all these different people that I met. So there's definitely something in there for everyone.
Oh yeah. And have your exes read it, or have they reached out to you about it or anything?
I I haven't heard anything from my ex-husband, and I'm hoping I don't, but I wish nothing bad on him nor his girlfriend. I am so much happier in my life now, and I didn't write this story as any type of revenge by any means. I'm very detached from my marriage and thankful for all the things that it taught me. But to be honest, like, this was just the very small setup to kind of set the stage for this huge part of my life that happened.
Yeah.
So to me, it's really just like a character and a time in my story at this point. My other ex that left me before Europe, he knows about the book. He's been very supportive about it, and yeah, I don't know if he's read it yet, but I do know that him and his family has been very supportive, and that's been really important to me because I took a lot of care with the fact that everyone was kind of letting me write about this part of my life that they were so involved in.
Yeah. No, I really think it sounds so cool, and honestly, it sounds like it would be perfect for like either, like you said, a Netflix show or a movie or whatnot. Are you planning on doing anything like that, or?
Yeah, it's being pitched around to TV right now. I don't see it as a movie. I think there's too much information to fit into one film. I see it more as like a limited TV series that people can binge. But yeah, it is definitely being talked about, and we're seeing where it goes and if it finds a home somewhere.
That's cool, and you would have to direct it and star in it.
I wouldn't want to star in it. A lot
really?
of people keep saying that, but I would want to direct it just to make sure that it gets brought to life in the right way. But no, I mean, I lived it and then I wrote about it. I don't think I need to play myself in it. I would probably want to do like a fun cameo of one of the people that I met along the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, it sounds so cool, and it really does sound like it'd be an amazing TV show. And like you said, probably too much for a movie. You really want to explore all of it. So
yeah, and it would be so fun to go shoot in all the different locations that I went to. And
now, what was your favorite place that you went to with this trip?
Barcelona, and I think it's a couple reasons. One, because it was the first place that I really felt like I got some healing, and also the people that I fell in with at Barcelona, like our big hostel group that everybody met and became friends, were just so amazing. And the energy of that city with the beach and the architecture and everything, it's just a really beautiful place, and my heart just kind of felt at home there.
Oh, I heard it's absolutely beautiful there, so I'm sure that
was
really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. If anybody gets a chance to go, they should absolutely go.
And like we said, I don't want to really give too much of the book away, but do you have maybe one of your favorite stories or funniest stories or something that happened to you while you did this?
Yeah, I mean, God, there's so many. But so when we were when I was in Amsterdam, I had met a friend on a pub crawl that we had gone on, and we decided to go explore the red light district together.
Okay.
And when we were in line for a peep show, which if people don't know what that is, it's basically you stand in line and go into this little room and put €2 in, and something pops up in front of you like to watch, and it's sex oriented. So it's very like the red light district in Amsterdam is unlike anything I've ever experienced, and it doesn't even feel real. So we're standing in line, and we ended up meeting these other two guys that were both from the USA as well. And one of them I became friends with, and he invited me to meet him in Mykonos for a couple days, and I ended up a couple weeks into my trip going and meeting him in Mykonos. And that's like a perfect example of why it's so awesome to be able to solo travel, because you have no plans and no people that need to approve, decisions or locations. And it was like I had met this friend so randomly by chance, and that ended up taking me to Mykonos, which was another amazing part of my journey. And he and I are still friends. We've hung out probably 3 or 4 times because he doesn't live in LA where I'm at. Okay. But anytime he's in town, we get together, and we've maintained a friendship since then, which is awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah, that is perfect. And to find an American over there and then have it work out, that's really cool.
It was weird how many Americans I met on this trip. Very weird.
I guess we all find each other, huh?
Yeah.
And so we had your mom on a few weeks ago, and she was so proud of you with everything. But was it difficult for your family knowing that you were going by yourself, or did you
Yeah,
guys have
yeah.
conversations?
My mom was like terrified. I remember sitting on the bed with her before I left, and she's like, "You don't have to go." And I was like, "Yeah, I do." But I think she, as scared as she was for me to kind of venture off and be by myself for a month when I was in such an emotional state, like the fact of how proud she was that I was going to go kind of outweighed that.
Yeah.
So she's read the book twice. The first time she read it was, right when I came home and kind of had my first draft done, and she was in like total shock and was like, "Oh my God, are you sure you're going to include all of this? I don't know if we should put this in here. Maybe you should change your name." And then the second time she read it, which was how it got published, she was more so just very proud because she saw what a big journey I had gone on, but also how much of myself I had openly put into the book so that other people could get so much out of it. And, my mom's a world healer. She does privates with people all over the world, every day. And so for her to get that level of, love and healing from the book says a lot. So she was really proud in that sense when she read it for the second time.
Oh yeah, and that's so cool. You are very similar in that way. You guys are both you're both wanting to help people, and you're both so open and positive, which we need so much more of in this world. And
Amen,
oh,
girl.
oh yes, and to really the whole point of the book is about loving yourself, and I think that is such a strong message. We get so caught up with so many different things, but if you really just love yourself, that's the most important thing, and you need to come before anyone else.
Absolutely. And I really had no idea how to do that. I went on this trip and knew I needed to learn that because, people always say you need to love yourself first. It's more important to love yourself than anyone else. You can't love someone else until you love yourself fully. And I was sitting there going, okay, I know I'm ready, but like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a journey on how to find that. I'm happy to say that I did, and I write all about it. And once I got it, it was such a simple concept, and it really changed my life. And I hope that from people reading this, they can get it as well.
Oh yes. And how long ago did this actually take place?
So this all went down in 2017, and I mean, literally, it was over the span of 3 months. So I found out my husband was cheating, filed for divorce, left the house, met the guy after that, was together for a month and a half. Europe came, and that was a month. So it literally was a 3-month period of my life that just like absolutely exploded. I remember talking to my friends while it was all going on, and they would be like, "Okay, what's the next episode in the Netflix show of Gabrielle's life?" Because it was just so ridiculous. Like no one could believe it was really real, and I didn't even need to embellish anything in the book for dramatic effect because it was just all so insane as it is that it's all exactly how it happened.
Well, it sounds like as difficult as everything that happened to you was, it sounded like it was really meant to happen, and you took such a horrible experience that would break so many people, and I think you were strong enough to overcome it and really have this adventure, and then in turn help so many more who I'm sure tons of people have gone through very similar stories, if not the exact same, but I think that really is such a powerful thing that you were able to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely, I came back from that trip a different woman in all the best ways, and it really changed my life. I mean, I've always been a big believer in everything happens for a reason, but this was a very specific and prime example of literally everything happens for a big reason.
Yes. And have you been solo traveling since, or not
I
really?
haven't just because of work, but I definitely like want to. It's on my list. Southeast Asia is next on my list for sure. My friend, who I actually write about in the book, and who is like the one I go stay with in London when I first arrived, she's getting married next year, so
Oh,
I'll be going back to London for her wedding, and then I'm hoping to travel around after that. But
yeah.
yeah, I haven't gotten to yet, but it's on my mind and on my list. And anyone that's listening, I highly recommend it. It will change you as a person, and it's amazing experience.
And so since this happened so long ago, or not actually, it wasn't that long ago, it was only 2 years ago, but have you been dating since, or are you staying single for a while, or?
Yeah, I mean, I have people in my life that are very important to me that I'm figuring things out with, that I'm, moving forward with, but I'm not rushing into anything that's I'm really on a path of taking care of myself and making sure that all of my life is in order the best way it can be.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I've had some really important relationships, but that's all coming in book 2.
Now, what a cool story, and like I said, since already it's only been out for 2 weeks, and so many people have reached out to you, I can't even imagine how far it's gonna go, because I think it's so needed, and it's perfect, and you're such a good role model in the first place. The fact that you are such a positive person and vulnerable, and you're this incredible actress and director. I think that's really such a great thing that people can really look up to.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I don't know if I consider myself a role model. I definitely make a lot of mistakes and do a lot of, not textbook role model stuff, but if sharing my story can help people heal and help people, kind of grow in their own sense, then I'll take it for sure.
Oh yeah, and you're human as well, and that's okay. And I think that's also important in a role model. Is everyone
Yeah,
does.
yeah, and I think that's why the book resonates with so many people, is because it's really, I wrote it the way that I talk and the way that I am, and it's brutally honest, and it's not sugar-coated, and I think people don't see enough of that. So I've been getting a lot of responses. It's like, I feel like I was walking this whole journey with you, and I've never read something that's so just real.
Yeah, and you're doing it. So there you go.
Yep.
And do you have any upcoming roles or upcoming films or TV shows or anything that you're planning on doing?
So I just finished a film called Await the Dawn, and that should be out either late next year or early next year.
Oh, awesome.
And then I'm in development for a feature film that I'm directing that's based on a best-selling book.
Oh.
And then I also am in development for a feature that my mom and I are going to star in together, and we're going to play mother-daughter for the first time, so that'll be fun.
Oh, well, that'd be a pretty easy acting job, I imagine.
I mean, it'll be easy because we love being together and working together. It's
Yeah.
definitely some hard material, but it's a really beautiful script, and we're excited to get to work on it.
That's awesome. And can you talk a little bit about the movie you're working on that's based off the best-selling book, or trying to keep
I don't know if I'm allowed to announce it yet. I know it's floating around somewhere on the internet, but I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about what it is. But it's a drama, and the author of the book is absolutely incredible, and I'm really excited to be able to bring her story to the screen.
No, that's a cool thing, and I really want to know. I'm gonna try Googling it and figuring it out. No, but really, I just think everything you're doing is so cool and truly changing so many lives. And like I said, you and your mother are both so gracious and positive, and to share your story, it's such a unique thing that a lot of people don't have the strength to do, and really need somebody that can guide them and show them it's okay. And like you said, everyone makes mistakes, everyone's human. We all have been through a lot of crap, but you
Yeah.
came out on top.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. And where can people follow you and keep up to date with you? Because I know so many people just want to know what's next for you.
Yeah, so again, the book Eat, Pray, FML is on Amazon exclusively for paperback and ebook, and I'm on all social media platforms at Gabrielle Stone, and the book is at Eat, Pray, FML. And if people pick up the book and read it, I would love to hear what they think, so you can either message me or tag the book and, hashtag Eat, Pray, FML so that I can see it, and I'd love to, see all the responses and share them on my page and hear what everybody thinks.
Very cool. And before we go, I want to ask you a couple questions just so we get to know you a little better. Not really anything to do with your acting or anything, but just, or directing or book, but just to know you a little better. Is that okay?
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you could have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Robin Williams,
Oh,
because What Dreams May Come is one of my favorite movies, and I think he's so brilliant. And he just, I don't know, I've always felt like this light radiating from his soul. So probably him.
that's cool. That's perfect. If you could co-star in a movie with anybody, who would it be?
Oh my God, that's so hard. There's so many people. But I'll say Evan Rachel Wood, because I get compared to her a lot, and everyone's like, you guys could play sisters. And I think she's such a tremendous actress, so let's go with her.
Oh, well, that would be a great movie, and even Robin Williams.
Right.
If you could recreate any movie and you would be directing it and the lead, what movie would you recreate, and who would your co-star be for that movie?
God, that's like impossible too. Because some of them are just so good, you like don't want to touch because
Right.
you mess it up. Mm. Oh no, you know what? Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and I would want to do Kristen Bell's character in it.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
would want everybody else in the cast to do the same because it's that good that I would just want to like swap myself in it.
That's
And because
cool.
I need more comedy in my life.
That's no, I think that would be a perfect role. And then, what is the best no you've ever been given?
The best no?
Yes.
Huh. Probably from my ex about going to
Yeah.
Europe.
That's true.
Because it literally changed my life, and if I would have done that trip any other way, I wouldn't be where I am now, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, I guess that's a really good answer.
Right?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You are just such a cool person, and I can't even imagine what's next for you. And hopefully, this gets picked up for a show immediately, because I know.
You're so sweet. I so appreciate it, and from your mouth to God's ears.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you so much. And everyone, please go and buy the book, because I think everyone can use it in their life. Whether you're a guy, girl, it doesn't matter. It's for everyone. So thank you so much, Gabrielle.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
And thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, please go and support her. Buy the book. Check out her movies. She's such a sweet, positive person that has been through a lot and has shared her story and is doing amazing things with her life. So thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, never give up. Always believe and you'll achieve. Thank you. God bless.